to come back into this one, and it ended up being a lot tighter than a lot of people thought. I mean, the line was 19.5 to the Wolverines. They end up winning by 7. Interesting, though. 1,000th win. It is Sharon Moore that is the head coach of record for this one. But for the Wolverines, they're just concerned about improving to 11-0, get another win without their head coach, as it's all building towards next week when they take on Ohio State. Now let's welcome in Danny Kanell for some reaction on this one. Danny, in the pregame shows, we kind of talked about when would the emotional letdown come for Michigan, because this team has been through a lot. And today, it didn't look early like it was going to be that way. It looked like they were going to steamroll Maryland, but then it kind of seemed like it kind of caught up with Michigan here.
I think so, too. There's a lot that these players have been through emotionally, the ups and downs of what they've had to deal with, the investigation around the program, losing their coach the day before the Penn State game, finding out, the day before this week that he was going to be gone for the rest of the season on game day. So you almost felt like this has to happen at some point. And then there's the flip side. I thought maybe they'd be galvanized the way they were against Penn State, but I think also, too, the timing of where this game falls. Penn State, you had a top 10 opponent, and then Ohio State next week. If there was ever an opponent to take a little bit lightly, to take your foot off the gas, to just not be as dialed in, it would have been Maryland. And then I think probably the thing that was more concerning, Jeremy, was the performance of J.J. McCarthy and the offense, the inability to close out the game. Did get banged up on the offensive line, which is concerning. You want to get healthy. But the fact that they could not finish out, they had opportunities. J.J. McCarthy missed an open touchdown pass. Yep. A couple third and shorts. They did get the one they needed to finish finally at the end of the game. But really, it felt like they could have been more control in the fourth quarter, because going against Maryland's going to be quite different than Ohio State with their offense, a few more weapons to have to stop. So they're going to have to make sure they shore up some of those issues.
McCarthy, 12 of 23 today for 141 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. On the other side of that, Taliatonga-Vailoa, 21 of 31 for 247 and 2 picks. So neither quarterback in this game threw a touchdown. And really, I mean, people talk about Michigan and Blake Corum. They ran the ball 30 times. I mean, without Blake Corum, I mean, this is a completely different team, because he had 2 touchdowns today. Didn't go for a century, but he got 94, but he ran the ball 28 times.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing, too. I think you see Moore's impact is he is an offensive line coach, right? So you're seeing even more of a grind, but it is an extension of Jim Harbaugh. I mean, this is a team that is built on toughness and physicality, and the defense is there, and the run game has been there throughout the Jim Harbaugh tenure. And then you pair that with a quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who has been so sharp all season long. But this is where I do think the competition comes into play, because this is, as we get down the stretch, the competition's getting harder. You're on the road. You find yourself in these high-pressure situations. It's somewhere that J.J. McCarthy hasn't had to be in, because they've been blowing out the teams for the first 9 games of their schedule. So all of a sudden you find yourselves here in a game late. I think it's a good test for them. Like we were talking about it earlier, this is that game where you can coach them hard this week, because if there was ever a chance to feel like, oh, we're good where we are, college kids have a way to do that. Now you can coach them hard going to Ohio State. They'll be dialed in and be teachable, after a game like this.
That was the next question I had for you, is what is Harbaugh saying to his team after he sees this?
Oh, yeah, but this is kind of good for him, too. He can come back, and that's also this suspension does allow him to coach throughout the week, and they'll coach him up hard, and they'll go back, and they'll look at the film, and they'll drive some points home, some coaching points, finer coaching points. And also for J.J. McCarthy, the thing with J.J. is that, the touchdown that he missed looked like it was just a bad throw. So you want to go out there, rep those, try to get his confidence up, because you want to make sure you are not lacking any confidence going into a game like you're going to have against Ohio State.
What are you expecting in terms of an early line, Ohio State, Michigan?
Ooh, I would say about a field goal, probably. Michigan is a home field goal favorite, maybe 4, somewhere along those lines.
I would imagine that probably the total is going to be under 50, do you think, for that
Yes,
game?
I think so. Ohio State's firepower could have you a little bit concerned, but I'd say it's probably right around there. But I think what's going to be interesting is, like, this, and like Michigan should be favored. They're at home, and they beat this team twice in a row. So I'll be curious to see if it creeps up at all, where the money kind of comes in once the line is set. And I think it's going to live up to the expectations. It's been a game that's been circled on everybody's calendar all offseason. And both these teams, I've seen the clock in Michigan's locker room, the countdown clock. Ohio State has too. They look for this game every single year. And once again, I think it's going to deliver.
I'm trying to find.
Oh, yeah, the look-ahead line, yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's an early line for us that we can kind of look at on FanDuel, and I can't seem to find one right now. So, yeah, but that's the big game now for Michigan. The focus turns to Ohio State. Now they don't have any other distractions in front of of them. Now it is all about Ohio State. They get the win today over Maryland, perhaps not as big as they had hoped, 31-24. Remember, 19.5-point favorites is what they were going in. It closed at 17.5, but Maryland still does manage to get the cover, and the over cashes. We talk about the day for J.J. McCarthy, not a great day for him, so you'd have to say his Heisman odds have taken a serious hit after what we saw last week, the fact that basically didn't throw the ball in the second half of that game, and then he does go around 50% for the game today.